Well, Rob, why don't you introduce our guest, man?
Does he really need to be
Well,
introduced?
I mean, I guess you should probably just at least say his name, and just so people know who's on the show.
This is the legend himself, Andy B. Andy's been around for Andy. How long have you been around?
Well,
I've been knowing you since I was a rookie.
This will be year 43 this year.
43 years.
43 years.
Yeah.
Man.
And I have to tell you, I've stopped counting in actual numbers. I'm counting in jerseys now. So like last year was James Worthy, 42. This year, Michael Thompson, 43. My goal is to get to Ralph Sampson, 50.
Oh, I was gonna say, I'm doing the math in my head. I'm like, what the hell number did Ralph Sampson wear?
Hey, you sure you want to get the Dennis Rodman's number?
Wow.
I might be doing that from another area code, Rob.
Yeah, for real. So, I mean, Andy's been the photographer. So, are you the Lakers photographer? Is that kind of the official position? Because I know you photograph everything in the NBA.
Yeah, things have morphed a little bit, guys. I like to say I work for the NBA because that's where my check comes from, but I'm basically leased out to the Lakers and Clippers and Sparks because those are our home teams. It's kind of that's the way it works in all the different markets throughout the league, where the NBA essentially hires the team photographer, and the team photographer has historically done all the work that the team needs, but they're not on the team's dime, if that makes any sense.
That makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
I think. Sorry to interrupt. I think for me, Andy, it's like I've been knowing you for so long, but I don't know. How did you get your start? What made you want to go into shooting sweaty ass guys running around the court?
Well, that's a great question, Rob, because we all started somewhere, and there was a love. Like you had a love for the game, I had a love for sports in general. I grew up in Brooklyn and played a lot of street sports. Basketball, street hockey, football in the winter on concrete, stickball. And my dad was a huge sports fan, mostly hockey. We had Rangers season tickets my whole life growing up, and that was how my dad and I bonded, was over sports. We'd go to a Mets game. I went to almost every Ranger game from when maybe 9 or 10 years old till I went to college. So I found out that I had a hankering for photography when I was about 14. My dad bought me a camera, and we made a trip to the Western United States, all the national parks and stuff. And I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed being able to create, express myself through a camera. And then it became sort of a career choice, through a few different paths. And what better than to marry your two passions together, sports, photography. And, I get a pretty good seat on the court. So,
Pretty good seat. You can go wherever you want.
I always joke that the people sitting behind me are paying like the $4,000 a seat, Rob.
And they're watching you take pictures.
Right. But the only deal on that is I have to block for them if Shaq's going to be coming straight at us. I'm the guy who takes the hit.
So I guess there's a good question. What have you caught a few hits? You had to have caught a few hits down there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's been a few. It amazes me, and Rob, you'll attest to this, that how agile, nimble, and in control you guys are, especially in midair. It just blows me away how you can look so completely out of control, but yet you guys can stop on a dime. You don't usually hit us. Shaq.
Only if we don't like you.
Right. Well, I have a funny story about that. The first time I got hit was very early in my career. It was around 84. I remember this, and the Denver Nuggets were in town playing the Lakers, and T.R. Dunn came flying into me. I mean, just like
Alabama.
Yeah, just right. Laid me out. I'm like, I don't know, man. I was like, waiting for to get the last rites or something, and he looks down at me and goes, "Why the hell didn't you get out of the way?" Sorry, dude. I was doing my job over here. Not really anywhere to go.
Hey, for me, that would be the hard part, because you're trying to get that perfect pick, and all of a sudden you're like, "Oh shit!"
Yeah.
and you kind of get frozen. You know, it's not like that moment when Shaq was running towards the bench and Phoenix and everybody's scattered.
Oh, that's great. That's still one of my favorites. I still love that. It makes me laugh every time I see it. Yeah.
Well,
so it's
well,
funny.
If you want to hear a Shaq story, I got a great one. And you were probably on this team, Rob, when this happened. Shaq, for all of his giganticness as a person, on the court, he was incredibly in control of his body. He'd literally have 5 guys hanging on him and he'd go dunk. And very rarely did you see Shaq hit the deck. He just didn't. There was one, and keep in mind, I'm about 6 feet away from where these guys are playing under the basket. And there was one play where he went up, he got hacked in midair and sort of lost his balance and took a couple of off balance steps and literally fell right on me. And we were face to face like this, like pancakes. And I literally could not breathe. He took the wind out of me. I got lenses embedded in my chest,
Oh.
and we're face to face like this. And I'm like, and he's like, "Oh, is that you, man?" I'm like, "Yeah, get the off me, man."
Big ass off.
And he goes, "Give it a second, man. We're on national TV."
Let me look like I'm kind of.
It was a Western Conference Finals game against San Antonio. I'll never forget it. There's actually video of that somewhere. Mm-hmm. And anyway, we joke about it now.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Wow. The guys know where the cameras are nowadays. I tell you that.
Yeah. A lot of guys have their own cameers down there. LeBron has his own guy who follows.
I didn't know that.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I can believe that. Yeah.
Yeah, it makes sense.
I'm sure he does because you can't always get him. It's like he has a photo of everything, walking into the arena, riding in the car. Every place. It's like. Does he have a ticket on the plane too?
Yeah, I believe so. Probably. In Kobe's last year, he had that film crew follow him around, and that was very unusual. Except going back to the Last Dance era with Bulls, when NBAE did follow, that team around for a couple of seasons, but mostly the final championship. But that footage has not seen the light of day yet. We're all waiting to see what Vanessa does with that footage.
Yeah,
I'd love to see that come out at some point.
I would love to see it too. She's I guarantee she has a strategic moment that's going to come out. And everybody's been talking about what 8/24/24.
Yeah,
it's the magical number.
Yeah.
So who knows?
Yeah, it's true.
So Andy, you've shot. And this is the funny thing is too. If you don't know Andy, you know Andy because as I'm going through photos you've shot in your career, I'm like, oh, I've seen that a million times. Oh, I've seen that a million times. I've seen everything you've shot time and time again. Do you have a moment? Because I think for me, the one that I think is probably one of the more iconics is when you captured Jordan crying on the Larry O'Brien. Like that, I've seen that photo countless times. I can't even remember. Didn't realize till recently. I was like, oh, that's an Andy picture. I didn't even realize it.
Yeah, I think 2 of my most well-known photos were not action photos, believe it or not. There was that one, Jordan with the trophy in 91. Yeah. Then there was the Kobe and Ice one, Rob, which I'm sure you remember, black and white, where he's got his busted ankles and 2 ice chests, and he's got his little busted finger in a coffee cup. And that was just a real moment in time. I pride myself first and foremost on being a photojournalist. So, I'm not up there with the great photojournalists that we've seen throughout the years who work for newspapers and wire services. But, my job is to record the moment. So with the Jordan moment, it just happened bang, bang in a crazy visitors locker room. That, Rob, you remember the old Forum visitors locker room? It's about the size of the men's room,
Yeah, terrible.
And all hell's breaking loose, and the network decides, we'll do the trophy presentation in here too, in the middle of all this chaos. And
no room.
It was crazy. Yeah, so they did the live shot of the trophy presentation with the commissioner, went to commercial, and then they wanted to come back and interview Michael one-on-one, and he disappeared. He just left the stage. It wasn't even the stage. It was 2 folding tables. And frantically, everyone's looking for him. The producers, they're going to come back from commercial, and they got to interview him. And instinctively, something just said to me, look to your left. I was up on a bridge table in the middle of the room, just trying to get a vantage point. And he was maybe 4 or 5 feet away from me. And that moment happened. It just really quick like that. And it's really cool. And if you watch The Last Dance again, and they do an episode almost about that moment, the 91 championship, the first one, they zoom in on the ball of the trophy, and you literally can see me with the flash going on. It's crazy. Cool. I did a screenshot of it. I couldn't believe it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Andy, when people are in the midst of doing great things, you've been in this industry for a long time, like you said, over 40 years. Most people, while they're in it, don't step back and get to realize how, the moments that they've been a part of and how great they were. Have you had the time to really sit back and be able to kind of smell the flowers and realize how great some of these moments were? Or is that something that you'll do, when you're, riding off into the sunset?
Well, I do. I recently, and that's another great question. I had the opportunity and really good fortune of going to the Showtime reunion that Magic and Pat Riley put together last year in Maui.
I'm jealous.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Jealous.
It was so much fun, and I think 43 guys came. If you had won one championship or multiple ones in the 80s with the Lakers, because they won 5 in that decade, you were invited to this thing. And myself and Gary Vitti and Jeffrey Osborne were the only non-players invited. And just to be there and to hear the stories and remember, like, wow, I was in Boston Garden in '85 when they won the championship. And, I filed that way back in the filing cabinet in my memory bank. But to have, the guys sitting around and talking about what that meant to them, right? And then other moments, like especially with Rob, for example, I shot all of Rob's championships, right? So I have every finger, 1 through 7. Right? But like the photo of you with your son, Rob, and then then seeing him now is like an actual adult person, it just brings a lot back. And I get that a lot with a lot of season ticket holders, with kids like Luke Walton. I knew Luke Walton. He was literally in diapers when I met Bill. He played for the Clippers in '84. And I've shot all.
I think I'm grabbing the photo. It's in my office.
Oh, there you go.
He's got something.
I knew he was looking for something.
That's really gratifying.
So you talking about this one?
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. And it's really gratifying for me because being the guy that documents that, I feel like it's the best gift that I can give of my talent, right?
Sure.
And then to be a historian of the game, David Stern gave me the greatest compliment, probably 5-6 years into my career during the Bird Magic era. He said that you're responsible for the visual history of this league.
It's not wrong.
Boss. That's really a daunting responsibility. But
but you have to think about it. When you talk about basketball, you talk about one of the most graceful sports there is, one of the fastest sports there is, because there's moments are happening just like that. So has there ever been a moment that you kind of just looked away and everybody was ooh and ah, you're like, damn it, what I missed?
So, how much time do we have, guys? Well, what's the famous quote that Jordan or Kobe says? You can't make shots you don't take, or Gretzky said it, or whatever. But
miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
Right. For every great shot you made, Rob, there was one that you wished had got in, right? So
the San Antonio one when I was with the Lakers, that cost me like $6 million, dude.
Yeah. Well, I can't relate to the $6 million.
None of us can.
No, it was the big one that sticks in my craw, will always be there, was the 2000 Olympics in Sydney. And remember when Vince Carter dunked over that French dude?
Yeah.
Guess who did not get that photo? Which happened right in front of me. Operator error, to say the least. That was an inexcusable thing because I was on it. I just was not using equipment I should have been using. And one of the biggest things I take pride in, guys, is not being distracted during a game. It's just, I'm there to work. I'm not there to watch the game. I'm not there to talk to the photographers or the season ticket holders behind me. I got Sharon and Joe Hernandez behind me. I don't talk to them during the game. I'll talk to them at a timeout or whatever. But, you hear photographers yapping to each other, and boom, there goes, a Blake Griffin dunk, which actually happened. And I'm looking at the guy, I'm like, what are you doing? Like, I got that shot. Why didn't you get it?
Right.
So for people who don't know, Joe and Sharon Hernandez are great friends of the Lakers, the Clippers, the Rams, me, and their own Melissa's produce. And they're just really, when I say they're some of the nicest people in the world,
Great.
Courtside, some of the nicest people. If you ever see me sitting courtside, it's because of them. I'm sitting in their seats. And to back it up a little bit, Rob, do you know who Jeffrey Osborne is?
I've heard that name, yeah.
Jeffrey Osborne, the reason he probably got invited to Hawaii with the guy, because he was like the guy who always sang the national anthem for the Lakers. Every time he sang,
that's why I know it.
Won.
Okay.
You talking about Love Ballad, Jeffrey Osborne?
Yes, he always sang.
Can you woo woo woo? That's
So that's why he kind of got invited to the Lakers reunion, because he was like, anytime it was losing, bring Jeffrey in.
Yeah.
Never seen the national anthem.
Yeah. So, you guys remember when the Philadelphia Flyers used to bring Kate Smith?
Absolutely.
She's basically an opera singer.
Yeah.
They'd roll her out, man, and that was their secret weapon when they were playing, the Stanley Cup playoffs.
Yeah, that's right.
Wow. So we were talking about you missing moments. Had there been any Laker moments you missed?
Nothing really comes to mind. I mean, look, everything has to come together. I'm thinking of Kobe, young Kobe, as you remember, was a dunk machine, really.
Yeah.
I mean, the kid would dunk 5, 6, 7 times a game, and they'd all be spectacular, ridiculous dunks. And you can't get everyone because, I get one shot every 4 seconds. I don't have a motor drive where it's like, and I can pick one out. I have to time it perfectly.
Right.
Because of this light system that I use in the arenas. And sometimes it just doesn't come together. Guy's arms in his face, or referee could be blocking you, or all kinds of things could happen. But you chalk that up to that's just kind of the way it is.
Yeah.
Can't really think of any Laker moments. There's a great Laker moment that I could have taken a picture of, which I didn't, and I can tell you that story. When the Pistons beat the Lakers in, when was that, 88? 88, 89? 88 in the Forum, right?
Okay, yeah.
And they won the championship in the Forum. It was the Bad Boys' first championship.
Yeah, that's one leg.
Rob, you remember the old Forum locker room where basically the home team and the visiting team shared a shower, basically. Like the shower was in the middle, and one locker room was on one side, was on the other.
It was like a Jack and Jill bathroom.
Yeah.
We both have to share.
Yeah. So part of my job, guys, is to get obviously, the ecstasy of winning, but also the agony of defeat. So I got to go from the crazy victorious Pistons locker room to the Laker locker room to get some kind of dejection or something. It's just part of what I have to do. And there was no way to get through that hallway from the visitors' locker room to the Lakers because it's just jammed with people. So I remember, I can cut through the shower and end up in the Laker locker room. So I go through the shower and I see to the right, as I can see it in my mind's eye, the water is running and there's Magic and Coop in the shower with their jerseys on. They got their uniforms on. And Coop is like sitting on the floor with hands on his head like this. Magic's just sitting under the water. And I'm thinking, this is a great picture that I'll never take. Because I didn't even for a second think about picking up the camera, because that would have, all the loyalty, integrity, trust that I had built would have gone out the window in a second, right? Yeah. So I told that story at the reunion. And Magic goes, damn well should not have taken that picture because you would be here today.
And if you look at the evolution of things, and you look at the way certain things are done in any profession and look at the way it's done now, is drastically different. When you look at some of the young photographers now, and you look at, some of the differences in the ways that they do things versus the way that I guess you may have done things coming through the years, are there some things that you see that are the same, or many things that you see are different, or are you taking some things now that you're still in it from some of the kids and applying it to your arsenal as well? How do you see that?
Well, the thing that bothers me the most, I must preface it by saying I love the fact that the craft of photography is now in everybody's pocket, right? So everybody has an iPhone. Everybody can be a photographer, whether you're a toddler or a 100-year-old person, which is great for our craft, right? There is a distinction between a professional sports photographer and somebody who is taking an iPhone picture or point and shoot or whatever. That's obvious.
Right.
Difference between an NBA player and somebody who's playing, in the playgrounds too, right? So, the thing that bothers me the most about this youngest generation, and I do teach at the college level, is that they take a lot of shortcuts. They don't understand that it's an incremental process to get to where you're going. There's 30 jobs in the NBA, right? That's it. 30 team photographers. In fact, there's only 28 because I have 2 teams and my friend Nat Butler in New York has 2 teams. So, I think of those 30, 25 of us have been with our teams 20 years or more. There's not much turnaround. However, the teams now across the board in every league are hiring their own quote unquote content groups. Basically young social media people who don't have a lot of photography experience. They have a lot of social media experience, which is great. And they're the ones you see when you walk in the arena and they're shooting the videos, the guys arriving. But they have actually ratcheted up their photography skills too. And I do see what they do. I do see that, Russell Westbrook created the arrival photos. That didn't happen before Russell started putting on crazy clothes and stylish and all that stuff. So now that's a given, and the NBA, WNBA, probably every other league is shooting that. Not something I really love doing, getting to the arena at like 2:00 in the afternoon to get guys walking in street clothes. So I've been able, luckily, to delegate that out, but I see what people are doing and how they're doing it creatively. They're using lighting, they're doing like cool backdrops and things like that. So I try to mentor the younger generation. I try to get across that, none of us got here to this level at the NBA by taking a shortcut, by not going through, the gauntlet of steps that it takes. I mean, I'm preaching to the choir. Rob didn't just all of a sudden show up on an NBA roster. I mean, he started when he was a young kid and then working his way up and then, going, to a great college and working. And the fundamentals stay the same. I see the guys, the players doing the same fundamentals. It might be a little more high-techy now, of course. But, the trainers are getting them ready the same way that even going back to like seeing Tim Grover with Michael Jordan, I'm seeing that I saw that with Kobe and his trainer and with the guys today. So,
it's weird that you mentioned that when guys come in, it'll show you how things have changed. I remember when we used to come in, we just come in, we had to be suited up because David Stern said everybody had to wear suits to the game. And I remember when the Charlotte Hornets used to come in, it was Muggsy, Zoe, and Grandmama. They were all getting off with their bags, their suits, their sunglasses, and we used to sit by like, who do these motherfuckers think they are coming out cool? And it was like one of the things used to piss us off, but now it's just the norm. Like everybody comes in with sunglasses. Everybody walks in, with their little swag, and it's just everything just changes. And now it's just publicized more in the pictures and stuff. Because I don't think I could have done it. I used to hate when the camera's in your face when you walking in. I'm like, dude, I'm trying to get my mind right now. You trying to, film me, and I got to look cool. I'm more conscious of that. But it's weird, man.
Well, as you remember when you were with the Spurs used to come in the back way. We never had access to the Spurs. To this day, we don't have access to them.
Oh, wow.
Because they'd park and then they'd come in the back way and never go through the media gauntlet. And they'd have to do it on the road, but not at home.
But the only time they would let them do it, they're like during the finals.
Yes, during the finals.
They might let them back there during the finals. 'Cause I remember they have a picture of me coming in, and I'm like, I never even know. I think it was you I was pointing at. It's a video, and we're coming in the back, and I was like, hey! And they had me on camera doing that. So, because nobody ever went back to Spurs. Spurs always been like, hey, We're gonna be
Yeah.
low key. We're gonna be as stealth as possible, so
Yeah.
we can focus.
Yeah, no, it's true. Popovich ran a very tight ship, to say the least.
Yeah, it still does.
Yeah.
Andy, where can people find your stuff if people want to go back and kind of look through the history of the NBA? I'm sure you have. I know you've got books out and stuff like that. So.
Yeah, sure. Well, the book that I'm most well known for is the Mamba Mentality book that I did with Kobe.
Yeah.
So the Mamba Mentality, How I Play, you can get that everywhere, Amazon or whatever. It's in a lot of different languages too. Phil Jackson and I did a book called Journey to the Ring, the 2009 10 championship. So that's out there. NBA.com is a good place to see my NBA photography, but my work can be seen on my Instagram, primarily ADB Photo Inc. And I'm plugging, obviously, my own podcast and my own platform, Legends of Sport. So legendsofsport.net and Legends of Sport on Instagram.
That's awesome.
Okay.
Andy,
Yeah.
you're a legend.
So hopefully
man.
one day I'll be a legend. I can come on there, Andy.
You are a legend. What are you talking about? We've
What are
been
you talking
about
about?
this for years,
I'm
Rob.
totally kidding. I would mess with Andy because I'm like, Andy has never given me a photo of my shot. And so that's why I wanted to have him on the podcast so I can put him
Okay,
on
hold
blast
on, wait a
right
minute.
now.
Well,
So-
hold on. You know I missed the shot. You talking about the shot against Portland, right?
Yeah.
No, I'm talking the shot against Sacramento.
Sacramento.
Oh, yeah.
I missed it. That is number 3 on the hit list. by
Hey,
the way.
that's why I mentioned that early because I know you missed it, and so I was trying to get you to
I know.
mention that.
killing me, man. No, that of course I blocked it out of my mind because it's so painful. But that was a case in point where you remember how bang bang that was, right?
Yeah.
The ball
Mm-hmm.
Tipped
suddenly ends up in your hands
Yep.
and happened in a split second. I had just shot the whatever was happening when the ball got batted to you. I don't know if Shaq took a shot or
Kobe missed a
They
layup.
both
Shaq
missed.
missed the tip in. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So I shot the tip in I was on the other end of the court, but then I need 3.5 to 4 seconds to be able to shoot again because my lights have to recycle up. So if you imagine like huge batteries have to come back up to be able to push the button again, that
Right.
the lights come out. I pushed the button, but I got nothing. I got no frame. So,
So-
that was one of the moments where I was doing my job, but the equipment let me down.
Yeah. Who took the picture then of the one that we use in our logo of Rob mean mugging after
Yeah.
the shot went down,
I
and
might
like
have taken
Shaq's running behind him with his finger in the air? Was that you?
I might have taken that one, or the one you're talking about. I think was from an elevated angle. I
Might
ran
have
on the
been.
court. I ran on the court and got the guys mugging him and everything.
Okay.
But that picture I think was taken by an AP or Getty
Oh,
photographer.
okay.
Got it.
Yeah, that was a great shot.
Yeah, that's
I know
always
'cause
the
we
one I
talk
think
about-
of.
yeah.
Is that that one?
Yeah, we
I
had
was
to go
messing
to
with Andy all the time about this because the young lady from Sacramento is the one who gave me the picture.
That's right. Yeah, 'cause I was sitting next to the Sacramento Bee photographer,
Mm-hmm.
and I looked at him. I said, "You got that right?" And he goes, "Yeah." I said, "We'll be calling you."
All right, Andy, you're the best, man. We'll let you run. We appreciate all your time, dude.
Appreciate it,
Thanks,
Andy.
fellas.
Dude, thank you
Andy,
for sharing
just-
the stories, man.
Yeah, and just text me when you need me, man. I'm here for you always, man. I love you,
Thank
brother.
you, Rob. You're the best, man.
Yeah.
And great to meet you guys too.
Yes, sir.
But happy almost birthday. I know when this will run. Probably after your
I
birthday.
know it
but-
airs today. Yeah, it's
Oh,
gonna
okay,
go up
great.
today, so we're good.
Great. Well,
Yeah.
all the best to you and yours, Rob. And
Same
guys,
here,
great
brother.
to meet you.
Hey, when we going to get the pizza again, man?
Hey, we got to do that. We got to
Yes.
grab Brad and we'll go get something to eat.
Yeah,
Do
we
it.
right down the street. We live close to each other.
Yeah, I've been hanging out at the Ice House, which Johnny Buss owns in
Uh-huh.
Pasadena. It's super fun, man.
What? You have to let me know. I'll come meet you.
Yeah, you would like it. Great comedy. So I'm
Okay.
plugging the Ice House here for it.
No worries. Hey, as you can see right there, look, this is Sincoro bottle from my birthday party, so I plug Sincoro too.
Yeah, Joker's empty. That Joker's empty. What are you talking
Oh,
about?
Well, happiest of birthdays, Rob. You deserve
Thank you,
it.
brother. Thank
Thanks,
you.
thanks,
Thanks,
Andy.
Andy.
We appreciate you.
All right,
man.
thank you.
All
Yeah.
right, all the best, buddy.
Okay.